slide. Awesome. Well, good evening for most of us. Those on the West Coast, good afternoon still. Um, I'm really excited to chat with you about the housing component of this Can I Afford to Live on Campus? And chat through some pieces in terms of what we have to offer in terms of the experience here through student affairs at CU Denver. As Lisa said, my name is Dr. Brian Moffat. I serve as the Executive Director for Housing and Dining. Let's get started. Alrighty. So, as we think about our first year experience, I know there might be some folks in the space that are transfer students or continuing students from another institution. I want you to know that we have definitely a space for you and for our transfer students, especially on our campus. And so, right now, I'm going to talk a little bit to our first year experience students. So, families and students who will be first years here, one of the biggest things that you might be looking for as you continue to navigate your selection for your next college or university is an experience related to student life. I remember way back in the day when I was looking at colleges and universities, I didn't know how much the live on experience was going to be a factor in my decision of where I was going to school. I was navigating to a new city. I was from a very rural area in the middle of the desert of California and moving to the city of San Diego. And I need a place to live. So, as we think about the on-campus living experience at CU Denver, one of the things we highlight is our location and our accessibility for our students. You are in the middle of the downtown skyline, which is beautiful. Even being in the middle of downtown, the access to our campus is actually quite easy. I've been on a lot of different urban institutions, whether that's in Chicago or New York. And the campus here for CU Denver, we're on the Auraria campus, and so it's something that it's easy to walk. You actually still feel like you're on a college campus, but you are in the heart of the city. Living on campus provides you the affordability and the opportunity to roll out of bed, still get dressed, and go to class. I say that because we had this error in student life where many students were still just wearing pajamas to class, and we just encourage our students still get dressed, show your best as you move forward to your classes. We provide on-site academic support. So the first year building that was just on that first slide is called City Heights. And one of the major components of the design of this building is the learning center that's connected. Learning Commons is right connected to this building. So you have access to tutoring right on site. The writing center is here and student life, FYE. Alicia's office is right connected to this building. So is Katie's. And so we have a lot of resources that are right here in your building, as well as the academic support components related to if you're interested in being part of a living learning community. The facility and the amenity pieces, I'm going to talk a little bit about that further on, but one of the things that I want to stress as you are considering coming to an institution in an urban environment is security. And so as you're navigating and looking at the on-campus living experience, we have two facilities with CU Denver that are official resident facilities of the university. I can guarantee you that our security is going to be unmatched as you look at safety and security of our off-campus providers. If you want to talk offline about that, I'm more than willing to schedule a call and talk to you about that. We do have some great off-campus providers, but they aren't going to be able to provide you the same connection that we as staff with the university are able to provide you. The last component is, of course, our community engagement and what we do in residence life for our students. And so students don't just, we're not a heads and beds type of program. Our students aren't just living with us. We actually have a curriculum in terms of what we provide to our students. And that's through the work that we do with our RAs, all the way up to the professional staff and our connections with different resources on campus. So the different floor plans that you can navigate as a first year student living on campus is we offer double occupancy and triple occupancy. Some of the parents and family members in the room today are probably like, "Oh my, a triple room." Let me tell y'all parents that the triple room that we offer is designed to be a quad. The space is huge. And this is coming from someone who lived in a triple as a first year college student way back in the day. Our double occupancy rooms are designed for three people. So the rooms that we offer to our students are huge compared to what you may have seen when you went to college back in the day, like me. And so we have spacious rooms, and all of the furniture comes completely with the space. And you don't have to worry about bringing additional furniture. Some folks will bring smaller things, but um, I wanted you to just see this in terms of the occupancy as you think about selection. Many questions come up in terms of what about singles? We do offer a very minimal amount of singles, and I'll be honest with you, most of those are reserved for students who are needing accommodations and are connected with our disability resources services. And so this is the floor plan for City Heights. We also offer to a very small group of students through our Living Learning Community program, some triples and some two by twos in Links Crossing, but a majority of our CU Denver students will live in City Heights. So the services that we provide, these are some of the things that I just want to highlight and bring to your attention. So in a minute, financial aid is going to talk, and then the Bursar's office is going to talk as well. One of the things to know about living on campus is the importance of our direct billing and our payment plan options. Because we are an official piece of the university, I am employed by CU Denver. I am not an outside entity. All of my staff are CU Denver staff as well. I actually went to school for this, believe it or not. We have direct billing into the institution. So it will be part of your student bill. You create that and work on those payment plans with the Bursar's office to pay that bill. As mentioned, all of our floor plans are furnished units. And the other piece that I'll highlight is our signature on-site dining. And so we have two dining centers. Milo's Den is on one side of campus, and then right in City Heights is the City Heights Dining Hall, which is our all-you-care-to-eat facility, as well as multiple retail locations from Qdoba to Einstein's to Starbucks. We offer a plethora of opportunities for our students for their dining needs. This year, we introduced some new meal plans. Our Mile High meal plan provides the flexibility of a more flexible option for students to spend as they want rather than getting their meals issued to them on a weekly basis, which our students have asked for that flexibility. And so we're excited to provide it. One of the really cool things with dining is we do a lot of different programs. So, like yesterday was Fat Tuesday, also known as Mardi Gras, and we had a huge New Orleans themed lunch yesterday in the dining center. The week before, the chef was serving steak. It was a surf and turf meal. Obviously, if you have allergies, you don't have to have every component of that, but we were doing surf and turf for a Valentine's Day special as well. All of our buildings have study lounges. I have never seen a building with as many study lounges that we have in City Heights, and it's an opportunity for our students to get out of their space and go study, meet with their with groups, et cetera. And that space really becomes the power and the use of our students, and they really transform that into what they want it to be like and how they utilize it. We have a lot of different community meetups, and so some of the programming that we do is right in our building. Some of it you might explore and do some things in downtown with our resident advisor staff. Parents, you always love this one. We do have around the clock 24/7 professional staff that are on call to support your student. I say your student because you might be like, I need to call. Make sure you're going to see a little bit in the Bursars piece where you got to sign some paperwork in order for us to do that. But that around the clock piece is really important to make sure that we are maintaining the safety and the security of our staff, of our students living on campus with us. Student development opportunities. From the programming pieces that we offer to the student employment pieces that we offer, it is a student development process that we are doing here in housing. The other piece is controlled access. So I have this badge. We do have a visible badge policy at CU Denver. And so all of our students need this badge in order to access the building. So I'll give you an example of City Heights. If you want to get into the front door, you got to use the badge. If you want to get up to your room, you got to get up through the elevator or go up the stairs, you got to use the badge. In order to get into your actual room, you have to use a badge. That is the importance of the multiple layers of security that we have in our buildings. The other piece is if you are interested, first year students who maybe you have a job off campus and you are from the Denver metro area, you're still interested in living on campus, but you want to be able to drive to your job. We do have gated parking. That parking is located at Links Crossing, but it is something that you can designate your interest in our contracting process in your portal. And lastly, free laundry. We do have free laundry in all of our facilities. We actually have a laundry concierge program as well, which actually employs some of our students, where you can utilize, if you're used to seeing like those Amazon lockers, put your dirty clothes in one of the lockers, a concierge comes to pick them up, launders them for you, folds them, fluffs them, whatever you want to call it, and then puts them right back in that locker for you, which is a really cool program. Of course, there is an added fee for that. So the meal plan options for first year students are required to carry a meal plan. Mile High, Broncos, and Nuggets. One of those three is required. When we say the word first year, this is really your first time living with us on campus. You're required to carry a meal plan for your first two consecutive semesters. And then I've already talked a little bit about the dining locations that we have. One thing that our students love, we actually just ended this on Valentine's Day, is when students are starting to sign up to return to campus. So, first year students interested in living here for a second year, maybe you live in City Heights year one, want to live in Links Crossing year two. We have a constant rate program called Links Loyalty. This is very important. As someone who actually sees the numbers, I know what rate increases and rent increases look like in Denver. It's usually a rate of about 12%. And so you lock in your rate. So first year students, you will lock in the rate for this year and you will pay that rate for the entirety of how long you live with us. And so it's a really cool opportunity for you, and it provides some long-term financial planning for you and your family. How to secure your housing. I would pull out your phones, take a picture of this slide. We launched our contracts on January 5th. What is happening right now is that in your portal, as long as you have submitted your intent to come to CU Denver, you will have access to the portal and you'll log in with your credentials and then you'll complete the process to customize your experience. And when we say customize, imagine your Amazon cart and you can add all these cool things to it in terms of your space, your meal plan, parking, living, learning community, etc. And then what happens after that is all first year students are required to sign up and attend a financial planning meeting. I do not care if you know that you are paying completely out of pocket. We are asking you to still go to those financial planning meetings because it's much more than just the housing component of it. It's really just making sure that you have the financial literacy of what the next 4 to 5 years might look like for you. And then you can opt into joining a roommate group to match and find your roommates. And then the next piece is congratulations. We will see you in the fall. What will happen in the meantime is we will start placing students. I will tell you that we have a goal to place students a lot faster than in the past. Typically, we start placing students in late May to early June. And this year, if you are signed up for Admitted Students Day, which I encourage you, if you've submitted your intent, as soon as that comes out, do that. We are trying to make sure that you know your housing assignment when you attend Admitted Students Day here in April. With that, we look forward to seeing you and moving you in the fall. Of course, if you have questions as we continue on, please drop them in the chat. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ryan to talk about financial aid and scholarships.
Hey, everybody. My name is Ryan Grodman. I'm the director of the Financial Aid and Scholarship Office here at CU Denver. And after all the fun things that Brian talked about, all the ways that you can live on campus, I'm here to talk about the ways to pay for it. So we have a lot of things to go over. Obviously, if you've got questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. If I don't answer them while I'm speaking, or if one of our team doesn't answer while I'm speaking, I'll make sure to answer questions after I'm done talking as well. So today we're going to talk about financial aid, and I will explain what that means. I will also talk about scholarships, work study opportunities. We have a lot of other kinds of aid available as well. I will explain to you what a cost of attendance is and the different components that are entailed there. I will show you a sample award letter so you know what to expect if you haven't already received one. And then I will just give some general updates and contact information. So, with that, financial aid and scholarship office, we got a lot on our plates. So we oversee all financial aid in every way, shape, and form. And generally, when we're talking about financial aid, I'll get into in just a minute, but we're talking about federal financial aid. We also manage all scholarships in some capacity. So there are a lot of different kinds of scholarships. I will explain the difference between the different kinds of scholarships. We also administer all work study in some way, shape, or form as well, and manage the entire process for off campus work study. And I'll explain the difference between on and off campus work study. We reconcile and make sure everything is correct on your account so that you don't have to worry about anything. All you have to worry about is going to class and getting good grades. And then we also handle all the customer service. So we have links central as part of our department as well. And they are the first stop for any questions you have, whether it's financial aid, scholarships, Bursar, registrar, how to find somewhere on campus. We've got a lot. Link Central handles a lot of those kind of questions. So with that being said, when I say financial aid, I generally mean federal financial aid. So, federal financial aid is what you get when you have done your FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. No matter what, I recommend always doing your FAFSA, even if you think you don't qualify for anything, even if you don't think you're going to use any federal financial aid, still do a FAFSA because a lot of scholarships also require a FAFSA to determine your potential eligibility. So it's really important to do it. It can only help you. Doing a FAFSA won't hurt you. If you're not eligible to do a FAFSA, based upon your citizenship status, there's also the Colorado version, the Colorado application for federal student aid. And that one will generally, if scholarships require that information, we can use the CAFSA instead of the FAFSA, or CASFA instead of the FAFSA. When I talk about federal financial aid after you've done your FAFSA, there are a few different kinds of aid available. Generally, they fall into two categories. We're talking grants and loans. Grants are obviously the better of the two options. As long as you're doing everything you need to do, getting good grades, attending your classes, you don't need to repay grants. The most common type of grant that students qualify for is the Pell Grant. Pell Grant currently, the maximum amount you can get per year for an academic year, which is fall and spring, is $7,395. So it's split in half, 50% in fall, 50% in spring. You can also get it in summer too if you're interested in attending in summer term. So the Pell Grant is based on financial need. So once you do your FAFSA, you will get a number on the very last page called the SAI, or Student Aid Index. The lower that number, the more financial need you have. And it will also tell you potentially what you qualify for with Pell Grant on that page too. But once you get that number, you can always reach out to us with questions. But otherwise, once we receive your FAFSA, we will add financial aid automatically to your account, or we will reach out and let you know if there's any clarifying information or documentation that's required to get that financial aid added. We also do offer the Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. That one is a fixed amount the Department of Education gives to us. So that one varies how much students can get each year, but it could be anywhere from $100 to $1,000 per eligible student. So every year that could fluctuate, but we do offer that one as well, depending on what the Department of Education provides. And then another really common one, depending on your program, is the Teach Grant. So that one, obvious as the name implies, is for students enrolled in a teaching program. That one is a grant as long as you agree to serve in an area of high need after you graduate. So it could be an inner city school or a rural school, but as long as you meet your service obligation after you graduate, you don't pay it back. If you don't meet your service obligation, then you pay it back like a normal student loan. When we're talking about loans, there are quite a few different kinds of federal student loans. The most common ones that students use are subsidized and unsubsidized loans. Subsidized loans, the federal government pays the interest while you are enrolled in school. Otherwise, it's based on the FAFSA. You don't have to do a secondary application. There's no credit check. And you don't start repayment on subsidized loans until 6 months after you stop attending. So that could be after you hopefully graduate. But if you drop out or withdraw for any reason, 6 months after that point, repayment starts. The unsubsidized loan is the exact same, except the federal government doesn't pay the interest while you're enrolled in school. So it will accrue interest, but you don't have to make payments, although I recommend you do if you can, but you don't have to make payments until 6 months after you're done attending. The last one down here is the plus loan. Currently, for spring and summer, there is a graduate version and a parent version. Starting next year, new students who have never borrowed federal loans before will no longer be able to borrow a graduate plus loan that is being phased out. Students who have already borrowed one will have 3 years to finish their program and continue to borrow. But For undergraduate students, which I assume most of you are, the Parent Plus loan is not going anywhere. So there are changes to how much parents can borrow, but the Parent Plus loan does require a secondary application. So parents will need to complete a credit check to qualify for it, and then parents will be able to receive a fixed amount up to lifetime amount per student will be $65,000 for the entire student's program. Generally, after all the other financial aid, you shouldn't necessarily need 65,000, but that will be the lifetime cap for parents. So after we talk about financial aid, we move on to scholarships, which are a much more fun topic. So here at CU Denver, we have almost 4,000 scholarship opportunities every single year, and they fall into a few different buckets. Every single one of them, though, can be found on our scholarship portal called Scholarship Universe. Scholarship Universe is a one-stop place to find all these opportunities. You can log in as soon as you can get into your student portal, you'll have access to Scholarship Universe. Once you log in, you will just start answering matching questions. And the matching questions will pair you up with scholarship opportunities automatically. And then you'll be able to see a whole listing of all the ones you match with, how much they potentially qualify for, and then it will tell you how to apply for them. And depending on the type of scholarship, the application will look a little different. So for institutional scholarships, those are ones where the funds come from CU Denver. We select the students, everything is done in house. And those ones are all applied for directly through Scholarship Universe. And those fall into actually two subcategories. There are ones through the Financial Aid and Scholarship Office, which are available to everyone. Doesn't matter what school or college you're in. So engineering students and education students and business students can all apply for them. And then there are ones that are college administered. So those are ones that are specific to your school or college or program. So those ones may be a little more restricted, so only for business school students, or some of them may be even more restricted, so only specific programs like, the like a specific engineering, like electrical engineering, for instance. So those ones are all applied for through Scholarship Universe. There's also private scholarships. That's where the funding comes from the outside, but most of the selection and processing is done at CU Denver. Those ones are usually our larger cohort-based scholarships, and they usually provide large amounts of money. And that would be like our Reicher Scholarship, Hoekstra Scholarship, Daniels Fund, Denver Scholarship Foundation. And those ones can provide anywhere from $1,000 all the way up to the Reicher Scholarship offers $22,000 per year, up to $22,000 per year for students. So they can cover some or all of your programs. So they're very worth looking into. Those ones are potentially applied for directly through Scholarship Universe, but sometimes you will match with it in Scholarship Universe and then it will direct you to an external application. The nice thing about Scholarship Universe is every single thing on there has been vetted thoroughly to make sure it's a legitimate scholarship opportunity. So you don't have to worry that you're being scammed or people are, trying to steal your information or it's not a real scholarship. Everything has been vetted to make sure it's legitimate. And then the last category, and it's the largest category, almost 3,000 of the scholarships in there are actually external scholarships, and those ones are where the funding comes from the outside. You will apply for it usually on an external site directed by Scholarship Universe, and then all they do is just mail us a check with your name on it and we will apply it to your student account. And so all told, amongst all of these opportunities, like I said, there are thousands of scholarships and tens of millions of dollars available to students every single year to help you pay for school. Next up, and very different from all the previous things, is work study. So we have about 1,000 jobs across campus every single year available to students, and they can be funded through work study. And there are two different kinds of work study. They're very similar. One is federal work study. That one you have to do a FAFSA to qualify for. And federal work study, other than that, is available to undergraduate or graduate students, and you can work on campus or off campus. And then there's state work study, which is almost identical, except you have to be a Colorado resident to qualify for it. The nice thing is that if you qualify for federal work study and not state work study, we'll just give you federal work study. You don't have to worry about it. The jobs you qualify for are the exact same, regardless of whether you're qualifying for federal or state work study. On and off campus work study is different, mostly in name. So most of our positions are on campus, which means that the positions are through somewhere at CU Denver. They're through one of the schools or colleges. You could be working in a lab, or you could be a tuition or a teacher's assistant. You could be you could work in the wellness center. We have work study students who man like the climbing wall in the gym. I've got work study students in my financial aid and scholarship office. There are a ton of opportunities. Then there's off campus. But the nice thing about most off campus jobs is that they're actually still on campus. They're on the Auraria campus. They're just not directly through CU Denver. So they might be at Metro State, or they might be at Community College of Denver, or they might be at like the Tivoli Student Union. So they're not necessarily directly through CU Denver, but you don't have to go very far necessarily to work an off campus job. Other than that, though, from a student perspective, the jobs are the exact same. You get a job, you get hired, you work, and then you get paid every 2 weeks. You get a paycheck, and then you can use those funds to pay for whatever you want, whether it's your tuition, your housing, food, or if you want to go do something fun off campus, you can use the funds for whatever you like. Next up, so a lot of other kinds of aid. I'll just touch on a couple of these, but we do get tens of millions of dollars from the state of Colorado every single year for undergraduate and graduate students in the form of Colorado student grants and Colorado graduate grants. So students who have financial need based on either your FAFSA or your CASFA could also receive some Colorado student grants as well. We also have institutional grants for students with high need. Generally, the average award for a student with financial need every single year is $14,000 in grants. So that's enough to cover your full tuition and your fees if you qualify for it. So it's a really nice opportunity. So that's a good reason to always do your FAFSA every single year, because you might qualify for that, and then you don't have to worry about loans or anything else. We also do, if you don't qualify for grants or scholarships or even federal loans, we do also process private loans. So we can work with every private lender to get those funds applied to your account as well. If you've got questions or concerns, you can reach out to our office and we'll walk you through the process. And then a big one here at the very end is study abroad programs. So students who are interested in studying abroad can work with our office and the study abroad office, and we might be able to actually apply federal financial aid or state or any other kind of financial aid to cover your study abroad program in addition to your regular program. So if you qualify for it, you can get additional financial aid and help cover the cost of those amazing study abroad opportunities. All right. So I've said cost of attendance a few times. Cost of attendance is a really important thing to understand. So there are two different categories in your cost of attendance. There's the direct costs. Those are the things that are billed by the university. So your tuition, your fees, on-campus housing, dining. Those direct costs are the things where we know exactly what they cost. We know what to charge you. And then there's the indirect costs. Those are things where you can get financially to cover them, and you're going to need some portion of these to get through your academic program, but we don't necessarily bill you for them. So if you're living off campus with your parents or by yourself or with a roommate, but not living on campus, if you you can get financially to cover that as well. Transportation, personal expenses, books and supplies. You can get financially to cover all of these things. We will create a budget for you, and you will, if you qualify for it, can receive financial aid up to the total combined cost of your direct and indirect expenses. So what you'll see, and we'll see an example here on the award letter on the next slide, is your direct costs are what you actually get charged for, and then you'll have another pool of funds for indirect costs. Once you get your financial aid, it will apply to your direct costs first, and anything that's left over will be refunded to you that you can use to cover your indirect costs as you see fit. So when we're talking about those charges on the next slide, the award letter looks like this. So award letters actually already started going out to students. So if you've accepted your offer and have done your FAFSA and everything you need to do, you should already have received an award letter. Generally, it goes to your student email address. If it is not in your student email address, if you haven't accepted your intent and done everything else, it's possible it could be in your personal email, but generally you need to accept your offer to get that award letter. If you've got questions or concerns about it, though, reach out to our office. We can always make sure that one gets generated for you. So once you receive your award letter, you will see it's broken into a few different sections. You will see grants and scholarships, and you will see loans. Keep in mind, grants and scholarships will be applied to your account automatically. You don't need to accept them, but loans you actually do have to accept if you want to use them. So you'll see an amount you qualify for, but it will never pay to your account unless you actually go accept it and then complete a master promissory note and complete entrance counseling with the Department of Education. So you do have to do a few extra things for those student loans. You will also, on the other part of the award letter, see the actual charges. So it'll be broken into your direct costs, which are those things that it says at the top paid directly to CU Denver. And you'll see other educational expenses. Those are your indirect costs. Do not be shocked when you see your cost of attendance is $30,000. That does not mean you're paying $30,000 to CU Denver. That is the total amount of financial aid you can receive to cover all of your expenses, including what's paid to us and what you can get financial aid to cover for things that are paid to others, off campus, housing or dining, if that's the case, if you're not living on campus, or transportation, books and supplies, whatever else you might need. So yeah, there's sometimes some sticker shock when you see that cost of attendance, but be aware that it is broken into two different categories. And then on the last part of this, you'll always see this information, which is personal to you. Make sure it's all correct. So make sure it's the right year. Make sure your SAI, that student aid index from your FAFSA, is correct. So if it's not correct, this is what we use to calculate your financial aid and your award letter. Let us know. We'll make sure that it is updated and corrected. Make sure your residency status is correct. And Thomas will touch on this as well, but your residency status influences your tuition rate. So it's really important to make sure your tuition rate is correct because your charges might be a lot higher than you expect if your residency isn't adjusted. Make sure that you know if you're enrolled full time, half time, part time, whatever the case is, because that does affect your financial aid as well. And I'll touch on that here in a moment as well. And then make sure you know what year you're in and what college you're in, because tuition varies slightly based upon which school or college students are enrolled in. And also, your financial aid eligibility changes based upon what year in school you're in. So, freshmen are eligible for less in student loans than seniors. So, you want to make sure that that is correct as well. So, some really important things to be aware of, and all of these are critically important. So make sure you take them to heart. Know how much school costs. I will say that again. Know how much school costs, not just your direct expenses, your indirect costs, because school, we're not a very expensive institution in the grand scheme of things, but school is expensive in general. And you need to know how much it costs and how you're going to pay for it before you even start so that you don't end up in a financial hole where you don't know how you're going to pay for it. You can't come back to school because there's a hold on your account. We don't want that to happen. That's a big reason why, as Brian mentioned, we require all freshmen who are going into housing to complete financial planning sessions with my team. You get a really unique benefit as a financial or as a housing student. Not every student gets a guaranteed financial planning session. It is a unique benefit of living in on-campus housing that you get a one-on-one personalized session. We will build a calculator, send you all the information that is personalized to your exact situation. That is very unique to not just to CU Denver, but to our CU Denver housing students. Also, like I said before, if you want to use loans or if you want to get a work study job, you have to do a little extra to get those. So you have to accept loans and complete some additional documentation. If you want a work study job, you don't just get work study, you have to apply for the job, get hired, and then actually work to get that aid. So make sure you know what's required before you get started so that you know that you've done everything you need to do. Also, you can authorize financial aid to pay things other than just tuition, fees, housing, and dining. You can go in your student portal, and Thomas will touch on this as well. But you can go in your student portal and authorize financial aid to pay other charges. So if you want to pay for parking or an RTD pass or bookstore charges, you can authorize financial aid to cover those charges as well. But you actually have to do it; it won't pay automatically. Also, really important, make sure you enroll in direct deposit. Direct deposit makes things so much easier and quicker. So, direct deposit transactions occur after all of your direct costs have been paid. Any excess financial aid will be refunded to you. If you've got direct deposit set up, it processes every weeknight and it usually takes 24 to 48 hours to get to your bank. I mean, depending on how quickly your bank moves, but it's much quicker than waiting for a check to process. Checks only go out once a week. They can take a week or more to get to you. Things happen in the mail, all of that fun stuff. So you don't want to be sitting there waiting to buy books and supplies, waiting on a physical check to show up. So make sure that you enroll in direct deposit. And then at the very bottom, the most important thing on here, know how many credits you are enrolled in. The number of credits you're enrolled in influences how much financial aid you may be eligible for. If you are less than half time, you don't qualify for loans or work study. If you are less than full time, your grants and scholarships could be prorated. And that includes if you drop classes, even after your financial aid is already paid, we may adjust your financial aid after the fact. So it's really important to know what credits you're in and reach out to us if you plan on changing it. And I think that is it. There we go. So if you have questions, and I saw there were quite a few in the chat, I'll jump in there and answer them. And then if you've got questions after this, reach out to my office. We are always happy to answer any questions you have. And thank you all for being here tonight. And I will hand it off to Thomas in the bursar's office, I think, or Aubrey. I don't know which one.
It's me. Good evening and welcome. I'm Tom or Thomas, whichever works for you. I'm the associate Bursar at CU Denver. We'll go ahead and so Bursar is a funny name, but it's been generally we're talking about billing and payments, financial aid refunds, third party. I'll explain a little more about what each one of these things means. We also provide tax statements like the 1098-T. This is our contact information. We'll present that again later on. If we can go to the next, there we go. Here's where to find your information. Once you have registered, once the billing information appears on the portal, which we'll talk about this later too, but this happens usually in July for the fall term. So we'll send bills like in August, but the billing information will appear on the portal, which we encourage you to use and check at the end of July. So in any case, this is where you can go to find this. You'll need to provide name and password to access the portal. And then there we are. We are the dollar bill. We are not the dollar sign. Ryan and financial aid are the dollar sign. So in the student portal, you're going to find, I'm going to mention a couple of things here, or the items on the left, like you can view your 1098-T. You can also, mainly here, you'll want to review your account balance. You can see all transactions, and you can provide direct deposit information, which I'll come back to in a minute. And you can provide your permissions, which is one of the things that Ryan was talking about, authorizing financial aid, which is important, really important. If you're going to live on campus, the housing information is considered a different kind of cost, so you need to authorize financial aid like Pell Grant loans. You have to authorize that to pay for those charges. That's where you can do it. Also on our website, on our web pages, we have a handy dandy pay your bill page that gives like a step-by-step for exactly how to provide the permission. So in any case, you can click the view bills and payment options to see exactly that. This is a quick snapshot. Quick Pay is like a short name for our online payment plan, payment processing vendor. They're just the people who handle that. So over on the side, you can view account information or make a payment. And you can also add an authorized payer. So I'm going to take a quick second to kind of explain. You're authorizing another person, say a parent, guardian, whatever the situation, someone to access Quick Pay, access your student account billing information, see a statement online, or make a payment. It's different from what we refer to as FERPA, and I'll cover that in a little more detail in a second. I'll cover it right now. FERPA, I'll come back to FERPA, but this is what you're doing is you're authorizing somebody, like I said, to make payments. But you know what? We have a slide for FERPA, so I'll come back to that. And basically, you're adding the information for an authorized payer, including their email address. Important thing on the email address, what's going to happen is the authorized payer is going to get an email, and they have to click a link in that email and access the Quick Pay site in order to authenticate there before they can access your information. So it's important to complete those steps. So there is a quick summary of Quick Pay. You'll be going here to view, make payments, obviously, arrange payment plans, view. I didn't really talk a lot about the payment plans. There's a $40 charge to set up for one semester. They will be automatically deducted on the 20th of each month. If a payment were to fail for any reason, it'll be attempted again on the first business day of the following month. Is there anything else? Okay, billing and due dates. These are, of course, important. We need to update a little bit of this. Electronic bills will be available that second week of August. Like I said, that's a difference between the charges appearing on the portal. That happens at the end of July. We'll actually send out electronic bills in August. Note that when you set up a payment plan, that was the thing I wanted to say. The earlier you sign up for a payment plan, the better. You can establish a 4-payment plan, a 3, or even a 2. Obviously, the earlier you sign up, the more payments you can defer into. There is payments made online. There is a 2.85% charge added to the cost. That is just the cost that we are charged by the charge card, people like Visa. So just saying that there is that additional charge. The due date for fall payments is September 4th. I think I put September 9th. It's actually September 4th. What that means is not necessarily that everything's paid in full and everything's great. If financial aid has not paid for your costs or you have not paid in full, if you've set up a payment plan, that protects you from getting late fees or anything like that. So things should be pretty well arranged on September 4th. That is if they're not, then late in service fees would apply. This is the page that shows our tuition costs at Denver. I'm not going to lie, it's confusing. There's resident fees, non-resident, as Ryan mentioned. I did see a question in the chat that I just wanted to kind of briefly touch on. For students who are out of state, who are non-residents, but plan to be resident and get assessed as a resident student, you need to first establish domicile in Colorado. And I don't have all the details on that, so I'm not going to pretend like I do. The registrar's office will be your friend to assist with that and give you details about what exactly has to be completed in order for that to happen. But in any case, on this page, you can see a number of different rates. So many of you will probably be assessed as standard or business. It depends on what academic program is actually teaching the course. It's confusing. Please contact us, write to us, or call us, and we can help. I'll come back to COF. You'll see the COF. I'll explain what that is in a bit. And I just wanted to call out quickly, we do have a cost of attendance calculator where you can enter some basic information like residency status and things like that. And in advance of registration or anything else, you can get an idea of how much it would cost for a semester at CU and for a year at CU. So the tuition is confusing enough, and the fees are right there with it. So we have on that same page, we provided a link there. You can scroll down and see the various different fees. There are fees that are per term. There are fees that are based on credit hour. Many of these fees are connected directly to a class or a program that teaches, or the program that you're in. There's a lot of different fees. Again, if there's confusion over it's like campus fees, mandatory fees, we're happy to help. Contact us and we can work through that if there are questions about that. So the College Opportunity Fund, this is something we refer to as COF because we do that in higher ed a lot. We say things like COF. So you have to be an in-state student, an undergraduate. It's funding up to 145 hours. The first thing to do, most important thing is to actually apply for COF through College Assist. Once you've applied, you will come back to CU to the portal to authorize. Now they've changed this process a little bit, so it's good. It's easier for students. It is a one-time authorization that you would revoke if for some reason you didn't want to accept COF credit. And this is where you can go to authorize it, which will help. Again, it's the dollar bill. And then here you can just select that you want to authorize your cost and you'll provide the information, just complete it, and then you're authorized for while you're at CU. Again, if you wanted for some reason to revoke it, you can do that. So refunds, this is another thing we need to update, and I'm sorry. To reiterate what Ryan said, absolutely want to set up direct deposit. That is crucial because if you don't, for refunds, anytime you would get one, if you drop a class, let's say paid in full, but you dropped a course, financial aid provides a refund. You are going to want to provide the direct deposit information. We kind of show you where to go to do that. And also on the pay your bill page that we have on our website. We also give kind of a step-by-step how to provide that. Again, if you wait for a check, we only do checks twice a week, then you're waiting on the mail. So we strongly recommend signing up for direct deposit. And for fall, that time frame would be the second week of August. Sometime after financial aid has paid, we begin processing refunds for students. And this is how to set up the direct deposit. It's not much information, so we really strongly encourage. And then we can send you the funds electronically. We say it takes up to 5 business days or so, but many times it's actually much faster than that. So strongly encourage that. Third-party billing is a process in which literally another party is paying your bill. Like it could be a company, it could be an organization of some kind. I'll touch on a few important points here. The most critical, I think, is the sponsored student agreement form. We need one of those if you have a third party paying. Sometimes I'll get asked this question, or we'll get asked this question. A parent pays the bill or a family member pays the bill. Is that a third party? No, that is not. That is just someone within your family making a payment on your behalf. That's not what we're talking about here. So if you did have an organization making this payment, this is where you want to go. Every term, give us a sponsored student agreement, and that allows us to actually work with that other organization to send them a bill and get payment on your behalf. The VA education benefit, we're going to recommend that you talk to our VMSS office, which is the Veterans Military Students Services Office. They will be able to help students with questions along the lines of what benefits, how do I use my benefits, or what benefits might I be eligible for? They could help you with that. We will then do the billing to work directly with whoever's actually making the payment, or whichever, the VA or whomever it might be. So these are just a few of the programs really quick that we do. We have many students in Chapter 33, Chapter 31. And the next slide, this is the VMSS office. So we would encourage you to work with them. If you have eligibility, they can kind of work through some of the beginning steps and do what we call certification, certify your eligibility, and then we do the actual billing part. Bookstore charges, a quick note, this is important to understand because many times this process is not well understood. You can use your financial aid credit in advance of actually having it posted on your student account to buy books at the bookstore. That is a thing you can do. Just to be clear about that, what happens is files go back and forth between our office, Bursar's office, and the bookstore. And they tell us what you've spent, and we post that on the student account. Many times students are surprised to see that. They think that this is covered by financial aid outside of the student account. It's not. It's actually right. You'll see the charges for what you've spent at the bookstore. And FERPA. This is the Educational Right to Privacy Act. The important thing, again, is that this is different from authorizing someone to make payments or look at bills through our online, through the portal. This FERPA allows us to talk to someone else, again, parent, guardian, whomever it is. You're going to provide the information. We're going to check that you have provided for this person before we discuss anything with them. So to do that, you'll come here to this page. This is again in the portal. Click on that, and you'll go to the FERPA release. And this is where you can actually provide the information for whomever you're giving consent for us to speak to on your behalf about your bill and potentially about other things like academics. But this is primarily for us to be able to talk to a parent or someone else about specific billing information like your student account charges. So that is if you have someone in mind that you want to give that authorization to, this is where you do it. And it's important that you do, otherwise we can't talk to them. And I think that's it. that is our contact information. Again, thank you. Welcome.
All right, folks. So I know we were tracking a lot of questions in the chat. I was just getting ready to respond to one. There's a question about work study. So it is not in the initial financial aid office, our offer. So in our office, we hire a lot of student staff. And what happens is the students, if they want work study, they do need to apply for the job. Once they get offered a job, then they'll work with us, the supervisors, and we'll help. Apply any work study if eligible and if needed. So we have your students apply as soon as they register for classes, they should be able to apply. So with that, I want to make sure we are cognizant of folks' time. We have about 5 minutes. If you did not get a question answered through the chat, maybe it got missed, there's quite a few things coming through, please go ahead and you may unmute yourself now, or if you want to repost in the chat, we'll make sure to get those addressed before you are off the Zoom. And again, if you are comfortable unmuting yourself, please go ahead and unmute, or you may use the chat. And thank you, Katie, for posting those links. Just as an update and reminder, we are recording this session, or we did record this session. So if you wanted to refer back to it, it will be on the family website by the end of day on Friday of this week. We also will post it in our family Facebook page, and the orientation website page as well. So we will make sure that we do make this accessible. All right, questions coming in. Should kids that are attending in the fall already received award letters? If they already did, or if they already did the intent to attend, will that show in the portal? So I'll have Ryan answer that one. Yes, award letters will go directly to the email. I see it in there.
Yeah, no
Go ahead,
worries.
Ryan.
Yeah, so we do send award letters out. They only go to email. So you will not see the award letter like we just saw a sample of in your student portal. But under the financial aid tab, which is the dollar, apparently my dog saw something. Anyway, so the dollar option in your student portal, if you click on that, you can view your financial aid awards there as well. It's the same information as your award letter as far as the financial aid eligibility. It's just not the same format. You're muted, Alicia.
Oh, I was muted. A question about next week's scholarship night on February 24th. Can you just expand more on that?
That's a great question. I don't know off the top of my head. So we can get you more information if you reach out to our scholarship office. It's just scholarship@ucdenver.edu. There's no S at the end, but we can get you more information. Otherwise, if you just go to our scholarship website, so just in Google type scholarship at UC Denver, all the information, including our events, is on that page as well. But we do hold a lot of events, including scholarship workshops, which will help. We do assist students with applications, with essay writing, with just general scholarship information, how to navigate Scholarship Universe, all of that information as well. But actual events and times will be on the website.
Great. And can students and families start setting up financial aid planning meetings? Are those available to do now, or do they need to wait?
No, you can set them up right now. So housing students should have an email, and in your student portal, there should be a to-do activity for you to actually click on. There will be a link to set up an appointment in your portal. You should get an email as well notifying you if you need to do a housing appointment. But if you haven't seen that, if you missed it, if you can't find it, you can just reach out to our office. And you can either reach out via email, which is financialaid@ucdenver.edu. That's usually the easiest way because then you don't have to, call and potentially wait on hold, although we really don't have students on hold right now because it's not terribly busy. But you can also call us. And we'll put the number in the chat as well. But you can call our number and it's 303-315-5969. But I'll get you the info as well. The You can call in, we can get an appointment scheduled for you, or you can always just come in. Link Central, our front desk, will also help get you an appointment scheduled. So you got a lot of ways to orchestrate that if you want to.
Just as a reminder with that, Ryan, those financial planning meetings, as Ryan discussed earlier, are only available to housing students. So once you get into your housing contracting portal, all of that information is in that for you as well, which makes it a little easy.
Yes, thank you for that reminder. So, yes, the specific mandatory financial aid meetings are for students living in housing. However, financial aid is also available for you to just, if you're not living in housing, you still wanted to speak with a financial aid advisor to talk about that. That is available. You just schedule an appointment, and you can do that through UCD Access or by calling them or emailing them. So, it's mandatory to meet with financial aid if you are living in housing. If you're not living with housing, it is not mandatory, but it is always encouraged. You know, the more you know. All right, we are at our 6:30 time. I will go ahead and let folks go. Please stay tuned to your emails. We will do some more of these housing spotlights. We will also do first year experiences. We will have a campus safety one over the next several months. So every month we will do something similar to get you all connected, get you questions asked and answered. So please check your emails. Feel free to also reach out to us as well. We are here to assist and help with the transition over to CU Denver. Thank you all for spending the past hour with us. I hope you have a great rest of your evening.
Is there going to be another one of these meetings?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we will have another one of these.
I'm in California. I just joined. Apparently, I'm a full hour late. The email said 5:30 and it's 5:30 in California, so I missed the whole meeting.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
was
We did record it. I will send the recording out to everyone that signed up, but then I'll also include the link with information to the next one. We will do another one of these in a couple weeks.
Same
Okay.
with me. I'm in Las Vegas, so
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it
I
didn't
was
say whatever
early.
Central Standard Time. It just said 5:30. So
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. I will be sure to include the information for the next one. We will do another one, like I said, in a couple weeks. I will also include the recording of this for you all, so you can also maybe get some questions asked or maybe answered sooner.
okay, thank you.
All right. Well, with that,